Disclaimer, this is my first time ever trying a video like this again, so some things may not be the best. Just a fair warning, there's obviously going to be mistakes, and I will still try to improve upon some mistakes I make on editing this. Without further ado, I hope you enjoy the video. Dark Souls Remastered is a disappointment. I'm not going to refrain from saying that or prolong it. It's a disappointment in my eyes. Now, of course, I am going to get into this into more detail, but it is a disappointment. First of all, let's cover up what some Dark Souls is. What is Dark Souls? Dark Souls is a genre-defining game. It literally made a whole new genre, and it's gotten so popular, and it's one of the most beloved games in the world, most likely. Dark Souls 1 came out in 2011, and ever since it came out, it was a hit. But the precursor to that one was Demon Souls. It was still a hit, but not as much as Dark Souls. Then in 2014, Dark Souls 2 came out. In Dark Souls 2, it's more known to be the meh one in the series. Not many people hold it at like the caliber Dark Souls 1 is. And then in 2016, around April, Dark Souls 3 came out, and we haven't gotten to Dark Souls 4 or any news of that. We've gotten Sekiro and Elden Ring. Well, Elden Ring might be coming out, but as far as we know, Dark Souls 3 is the last game in the Souls series. But then on May 24th, 2018, we got Dark Souls Remastered, a so-called faithful recreation of the original, which it is faithful to the original, but we'll get into that. This game did get a couple trailers for it. It was hyped up to be like a whole new experience, but when you looked at the gameplay, it didn't really seem all that different. Now, to start off this video of the review, like the review section, we're talking about the gameplay and the graphics. Well, the graphics, they're pretty subpar. They look great, yeah, no, I mean, they're not subpar, but to call the graphics completely new or like improved, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. Now, you see this comparison I have right up here on screen. Guess which one's Dark Souls Remastered and which one's the original? Yep, this is Dark Souls Remastered, and that's the original. They barely look different at all. They both look practically the same, and you could argue that, oh, maybe I'm using the same video, but no, I'm not. I also want to mention that the game, yes, it has a higher frame rate, and some things do look a bit more polished and nicer, but is that worth paying the $40 or $60 for this game on release? No, it wasn't worth it at all. I remember walking into my GameStop, buying this game for my Nintendo Switch. You might be wondering why I bought it for my Switch, but we'll get to that in a bit. I walked in there, my eyes, they were blessed with the sight of Dark Souls Remastered on Nintendo Switch. But then I saw that it was $40, and I started to question if this was the right decision. I still bought the game anyway, because, I mean, I wanted to play it on the go, and I wanted to play it with my friend Carp. Oh yeah, I mentioned my friend Carp, and I'm gonna tell you why. The main reason I bought this game and why I have it right now, it was primarily for the online. I already played Dark Souls 3 on my PS3, Dark Souls 1 on my PS3, and it was a great game. had tons of fun experiencing it, so I wanted to experience it co-op with my friend, IRL. But going back to the graphics thing and the gameplay, the game just looks bad in some areas. All they did was make the contrast higher. A lot of the game looks like plastic at times, and some of the textures just look straight up abysmal. And for the gameplay aspect, well, it controls like Dark Souls 1. Can't really say much. You got the basic rolling, you got your sorceries, just your spells, your attacks. Nothing really changes in the gameplay. Now, since it's remastered, you might be expecting some gameplay changes, which really the only gameplay changes for me was, since the frame rate is higher, attacks felt faster, but that's really it. But for some reason, they didn't think to make this change, which I feel like would have improved the game overall. See, in the original and in the remastered, you can only roll in 4 directions, which in the original could be a bit of a problem, because in Dark Souls 2 and 3, they made it so you can roll diagonally instead of forward, left, right, and to the back. So if they added that into the remaster, I feel like it would have improved gameplay a bit, because you would have been able to roll a lot more fluently, and you wouldn't be restricted to like just going to the back, where if you needed to roll diagonally, you could. And now this is still a Dark Souls experience. It's just Dark Souls 1, but with remastered kinda just slapped right on there. Like I said, nothing really changes, and I don't expect a lot of change. But when you do have a remake or a remaster, you do expect some changes, whether it's graphical quality or it's gameplay. And they didn't really change much of that. Yes, they changed the online, which I'll get into in a bit, but they didn't really change anything else aside from that. It's kind of just bland. I'm not saying that the controls or anything else is very bad at all. I mean, they still work and they still feel nice. But it still would have felt way better if they did something with it. And yeah, it's Dark Souls, still a great experience. I can't stress that enough. But I still can't stress how gameplay changes, just quality of life fixes would really help it out. And that's really all I can say for the gameplay and stuff like that. They didn't really change anything. So now we're gonna get to something else. The music. The music in this game is still phenomenal. It's absolutely fantastic. You have great tracks like Great Grey Wolf Sif, you have the tracks that play with the Gwendolyn fight and the Moonlight Butterfly, you have Gwen's theme, you have the Nameless Song. Every song from the original, it hasn't been redone or anything, but they still sound so good that they didn't really need anyone to reconstruct it like most remasters do from a game like maybe in the PS3 era. But I feel like most games that really do need a fix from the soundtrack is games from the PS2 era. And from what I noticed, sound design was pretty well. Some sounds did seem a bit delayed, but that doesn't really overall hinder your experience of the game. I mean, it might bother some people, but personally I kind of just ignored it. But other than that, everything seemed fine. This was just a short little segment I needed to clarify. The music is still great. The sound design's alright. You probably might notice a bit a little latency, I'd say. But other than that, everything's okay. And now here's the main reason why I bought Dark Souls Remastered. And I am going to go on a bit of a rant. See, when I bought this game for my Switch, the reason why I got it for my Switch is because I wanted to play with my buddy Carp, also known as Hero in the past. But anyway, I wanted to play with him. He is one of my best friends. I've known him for a while, and previously we played Dark Souls 3 and 2. Now, playing Dark Souls 3 with him was an insanely fun experience. Like, I can't describe how fun that was. There was so many laughs, there was so many moments where we did rage a bit, and there was just a ton of fun. Going through the game from start to finish was really fun. That's all I can really say. It was fun. And thinking back to playing the game for the first time, like our first run, beating it, it's just very nostalgic. And we did do another run recently, about a few months ago, in November. We started in November or December, and we played during that time, and we beat the game in like a week. But that run was still incredibly fun. We just chilled, played Dark Souls 3, and we talked about life and stuff. We talked about just like our first run through of the game and how the run through we lasted. Like, we kind of compared and contrasted what's happened and what's going on. And even when we weren't doing that, we were just joking around. We made tons of jokes. We were playing the game. We were just having fun. And Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 came along, and it was the same experience. We played it from start to finish. It did take us a bit longer. Where Dark Souls 1, when Dark Souls 3, it took us about a few days. It took us about a few weeks. Sorry. Dark Souls 2, it was a bit shorter, actually. I might have said longer, but I meant shorter. It only took us maybe a week. See, when we played Dark Souls 3 and 2, I was homeschooled. I had a ton of free time on my hands. Adrian, Carp, was also homeschooled, so both of us didn't really have like anything to do. We'd do our work, and then we'd hop on, play Dark Souls for hours on end. We'd just have a fun time. In Dark Souls 2, we didn't know which one was more fun. We do think Dark Souls 2 was the more fun playthrough now, but Dark Souls 3 was also equally as fun. There was a lot of glitches we encountered, which made the experience better, and we just joked around, had a great time. And here's the ranting. Dark Souls 1 online, if you're co-oping with a buddy, it really kind of ruins the game. See, Dark Souls 1 is more of a single-player game to me. I feel like that game's more meant to be single-player. Of course, all of the games, they're meant to be single-player, but I feel like in Dark Souls 2 and 3, they really expanded with the multiplayer. But in Dark Souls 1, I do realize it was like the first Souls game, discarding Demon Souls, but they could have done the online better. Here's why, and here's one of the biggest reasons that makes the online just horrible if you're playing with a friend. The lack of areas to go through. It may not seem like it because Dark Souls 1 has a lot of areas, but when you're going through those areas with a friend, a lot of them feel shorter, or they're just not enjoyable, or some areas you can't even play through at all. The Asylum, yeah, that's expected not to be played through with a friend. But also remember this. You have to go through pretty much half of Undeadburg after you get out the Asylum just to get the White Sign Soapstone, which depending on your skill level, that's roughly an hour. While in Dark Souls 2, you did have to go through a bit of the forest of the fallen giants in order to get the soapstone. But in Dark Souls 3, after you beat the first boss, you could buy it immediately and you can go through the whole high wall of Lothric area with a friend. So when you consider that, going through a half of the first area, so possibly an hour, without a friend, it kinda hinders the experience a bit. And that's not it. That isn't anywhere far from it. A lot of the areas are just unenjoyable to play through with a friend, and some of the areas you shouldn't even bother playing through with a friend. In Dark Souls 1, a lot of the areas are either restricted or, like I said, they're unenjoyable to play through. Exhibit number 1 being Blight Town, which is unenjoyable to play through together and single player, but that's not my only example. Duke's Archives. Going through that area with another player, one, pretty sure you can't even go through most of that area with your friend. And two, if you try to go through, it's kind of just a waste of both of your time and humanity, when both of you could have just went through like most of the area yourself and just fought Sif together. Now, there's other areas, of course, but most of those areas, like New Londo Ruins, that's unenjoyable to go through. Lost Izalith is unenjoyable to go through. It's just so many areas you might as well not even bother to go through. And this kinda hindered my experience with Dark Souls Remastered. The online playthrough, that is. My first playthrough of the game was with my friend Carp, and we had huge expectations. We really thought this was going to be more fun than Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. We talked about it for hours, and we were like, it's going to be so fun. But when we actually played, we were kind of bored for most of it. When we played through the game, we were kind of speechless most of the time. We weren't like, whoa, this is amazing. We were kind of just like, this isn't that fun. And most of the time we were kind of like, do you want to do something else? See, in Dark Souls 2 and 3, you could go through most of the areas. Most of the areas you could access and play pretty much all the way through with a friend. But in Dark Souls 1, of course, they restricted that a lot, and also just going through the areas weren't that fun. So when we played through that, most of the time we were just bored, and we had to make just small talk. Where sometimes playing Dark Souls 2 and 3, we didn't need to talk that much. I mean, we did, but sometimes we didn't really need to talk at all to have fun. Now again, me and Carp had high expectations. Like, really, really high expectations. But I still feel like even if we didn't, the experience wouldn't have been as great as we thought. Now, another thing I have to mention is I did recently do an offline playthrough. The offline playthrough I did like a few weeks ago, and it was fun. It was way more fun than playing through the game together. I feel like another reason why for that is sometimes it takes way too long, and I mean way too long, to summon a friend. Sometimes it took us like 5 minutes just for a summon sign to appear. And if we wanted to play through an area that's fairly long, we'd have to wait 5 minutes just to play through that area, which isn't that bad. But in Dark Souls 2 and 3, it was almost immediate. But in Dark Souls 1, it took a while.
And it's the worst even when you're waiting 5 minutes just for your friend's summon sign to appear so you can fight a boss that you will destroy in like 30 seconds together. Or you will fight a boss that will take a while, yes, but it's not fun to fight with a second person. And it's even worse when you're trying to go through an area and you have to wait 5 minutes for your friend's summon sign to appear, and that area takes you like only a few minutes together. It just feels so much worse compared to the other online experiences. And in my opinion, the online experience of Dark Souls with a friend is the best you can have. Yes, the first Dark Souls experience, like playing through the game your very first time, nothing can beat that. But if there's anything that can even come close to beating that, it's going through your first online experience of Dark Souls with a friend.
Now again, this is just my opinion of the online. If you thought it was great, wonderful, but it's just not worth it to me. And I feel like what makes it worse is I mainly paid the $40 to experience this game with one of my closest friends. And I feel like that's a real punch to the gut because we didn't have fun with it, like at all. We did have a bit of fun at some points, but most of the time, it was just stale. Can't really say anything much because that's how the whole experience was, nothing much. Though, I know I said a lot of the areas aren't fun to go through multiplayer-wise, but they're really, really fun single-player-wise. You have great areas like Orlando, Undeadburg, Sin's Fortress, which I actually kind of like. You have the Lost Woods, you have Sith's, like part of the woods. That's a fun place to explore. And, oh, that's really all I can think of. You know, maybe Dark Souls 1 doesn't have any great areas, after all. No, just listen, please. Dark Souls 1, it is praised for having some really, really good areas. I know that. But I just can't see it. A lot of the areas, in my eyes, are eh. Even the DLC area for me was kind of just eh. When I played through the game in my single player run, I did have a lot more fun. A lot of the areas were a bit more enjoyable to go through. But a lot of the areas just aren't worth going through in this game. You have areas like the Catacombs, the Lost Izalith. The Duke's Archives isn't that bad, but certain parts of it are kind of irritating. Orlando honestly isn't that great of an area. I know I said it is, but that's really only the second half of it. The first half of the area kinda sucks. And most of the area, well, a lot of the area, unless you do that one skip, is spent in that kind of like apartment complex place. There just isn't really anything redeemable about this place aside from the giant guy and the Great Ornstein and Smough fight and amazing chest ahead, but aside from that, there's not really anything I can find good about it. Sin's Fortress, it's an okay area for me. I don't find it very fantastic. The gutter is, the gutter, wait, that's from Dark Souls 2. Blight Town is Blight Town, and it's just, you have to go through so much crap in order to arrive to a good place. A lot of the areas, they're just tedious to go through. And I mean, they are fairly short if you know where you're going. My most recent playthrough of Dark Souls 1, it only took me 11 hours. Now, despite what I said about everything,
I still enjoy this game. I still love playing it, and I still think it's a really fun experience through and through. But the more I play Dark Souls 1, the more I think to myself, this game really isn't as good as I thought it was, and as everyone thinks. Now, if you think this is a 10 out of 10 game, I can see why. I don't think it is personally, but I can see why you'd think it's a 10 out of 10 game. But it just doesn't get that from me. I just think everything else the other Souls games do way better than Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 online playthrough gets a 5 out of 10. It's a bit fun, but there really isn't anything redeeming about it at all. While an offline playthrough gets you a 7 out of 10 in my humble opinion. It's definitely a lot better than online. It's significantly better in every way. But it's not worth the $40 price, especially if you're on Steam. On Steam, you will get this game for $40. It's not worth that much. Wait until it's sale, or find it somewhere for $20. That's all I can say. And again, this is still the first Souls game, and it's obviously going to age in some certain qualities. But doesn't mean I still can't be a bit hard on it. So I really hope you guys liked this review. I know this is a bit lengthy, and it might be a bit boring, honestly. But I really hope you enjoyed what you watched. This is my first time bringing this stuff back, and I really want to do more reviews if I can. And I figured I'd start out with one of my most favorite game franchises. Anyway, see you everyone. Bye-bye.